다시로 강가다시 데레 테네오 트링안조 로르가 바자도 고긴노니다 가로 타만만에 디아레스.
So, greetings, Tashidelu, to all Dharma friends. Today we are continuing with the brief meditations on the Lam Rim, the stages of the path, and we're actually reaching the end of this series.
다 가서 디디지레스 아니 다 듣는데 타마서는 뭐디 단 디지마텔 다시nye 돼서 된 거죠. 이제 디지마텔 신nye 돼서 공자야 돼. 아니 다 단다텔 디행이야가 다 도기 내서 손주지 세도 다 돼가지 디디지 차선로 다 들이 뭐
So then Geshe is just explaining sort of where we are in this series, and so the last in the series that he wants to explain, he'll actually explain this next week. And this is a very important topic, which is the way to rely upon the virtuous friend, or the method or way to rely upon the spiritual teacher. So that's a very important topic, and we'll present next week. So that leaves us with one left, which before that, which Geshe will present today. And so up until now, Geshe has covered the stages of the path according to the Sutra Mahayana, and we talked about things like bringing forth bodhicitta and so forth. So today he will make some brief comments on the path of Tantra, or secret mantra.
다오나 들이 안에 쪼라야지 너도가 니그거야 가르 뭐 이니면지 같이 먹고 이제 야 그거야 이제 가르 텐데지 디디장이스.
And so this will begin with a brief explanation of why actually we need the practices of both sutra and Tantra, and specifically why the practice of Tantra is something that is necessary and important.
나로서 같으니 다 레가 쪼데 마고바나서는 모든 나로서 다 손서 쪼데 예세제 요주 간에서 그 senje 요주를 보게 되시 때 그건도 대자 손지지 공부도 그건도 요새 나로서 손서 쪼데 데려왔어.
And so our main task, right, the thought behind what we're doing, our main task is that we want to be able to help all sentient beings be rid of their problems and difficulties, and we want them to be able to achieve a stable happiness. And we understand that in order to do that, the best way to do that is to accomplish Buddhahood. So that is what we set forth to do.
대 손지가 되는 거로서 지금도 주근이는 쪼더니 주기를 내가 되려고 왔어.
And so we see from the point of view of the work that the holy beings accomplish when we look at the two kayas, or the two bodies of the holy beings, the Dharmakaya, the truth body, and the Rupakaya, or the form body. The Rupakaya actually is the main one from this perspective.
대용아시아바라 소속의 세포게 좀만 갈래비 땜보지도 벌써 맞잖아. 아니 이제 주기를 내가 제도가 매이자 근데 지금도 마세아도 도전을 해버렸어.
But because we need to really purify our mind in order to be able to achieve Buddhahood, to bring that forth, then we talk about the Dharmakaya, the truth body, through which one achieves one's own welfare. So through purifying ourselves by achieving one's own welfare through the Dharmakaya, we can then give rise to the Rupakaya, the form body that benefits others.
저쪽으로부터 빼나 에보고 사변라부터 지쪽으로 와서 어때 된다부터 아니 이제 그 동바티 지쪽도 있까라 시오매 시오야 말에 대이자 된거까 시오야 이자 뭐가 그게 저어도 되는데 왔어.
So when we speak of this Rupakaya, this form body, this is the kaya, the body through which we accomplish the benefit of others. So we understand we need to achieve that. When we speak about the causes of this Rupakaya, or form body, so we mean like the main cause, just like the apple seed will be the main cause of the apple tree and fruit. So when we speak about the main causes of the Rupakaya, of the form body, these are only fully explained in Tantra. You don't find a full explanation in the sutra teachings. So this is one of the reasons why we need Tantra.
다쳐도 사도 다 드니 뭐지 그거라 대지도 이간 뭐 어디야 저래 요아르마도 아니 사회인의 연락이 저다고 돼 시고지야 말이야.
So when we speak in terms of the Rupakaya, the form body, in terms of the causes, we can say that the sutra path explains a lot of the auxiliary causes. Just like for the apple tree, you have the fertilizer, the water, the sunshine, and so forth, but you don't have the main or the substantial cause really fully explained. That main or substantial cause is really of the form body is really only explained in Tantra.
다때 네즈 조지 되지 다소 조다는 노동안이 차바 조라고 되더니 아니 네즈 저기 돈이 되잖아요.
And then when we speak about the differences between the sutra and the tantra, we can explain this mainly through a presentation of 4 points.
가대 간디스레 달라바이나 아니 수지지 사이 요다 시도 노바템벨럼 아니 다달레 돈비가는 거 좀요래 제주요 봐. 드리게 내서 아니 어다 소지가 수지라 아니 뭐 하세요.
So we can say that one of the ways of speaking about what Tantra is, how it is different, is the path which allows the practitioner to, from the beginning, take on the aspects of the 4 purities of a fully enlightened being. This is the path of Tantra.
소지지 사이요도 시도 nombatemelo 고지 미다 메세가로 메비거더니 소지가 수가다 아니 타야 답이녀랬더니 다 제지요 비네스 지라 아니 너 스타트리 좋아라레스.
And in terms of the category of teachings which does not allow the disciple to bring forth a path in harmony with bringing forth the aspects of the 4 purities of an enlightened being from the beginning, the one that does not do that and works towards liberation without that, this is what we would say is the sutra teachings.
어떻게지래 다원은 유도 시사 순지지사 유도 시도 유도 시선 하나 유도 시선 간디스레 달라바이나 아니 내용서 따봐 리용서 따봐 아니 로시용서 따봐 제바용서 따봐
So if we were to ask, well, what are these 4 purities that Geshe mentioned in that explanation? They are the pure abode, the pure body, pure enjoyments, and pure activities.
다 손지스도 쓰이나래 더 템바이나래 전에 저와 숑바이나래 전에야 이제 저베 시리즈 전에 다 이제 드라마 간디 지나요 코러스로 요다 시도 니는 요하러 왔어.
And so when we speak about enlightened beings, like the Buddhas, for example, Buddha Shakyamuni, or we speak of Maitreya, or Tara, or Manjushri, all of these enlightened beings experience these 4 purities in an actual way.
다 코러스고 요다 시대 변에 야 베제도 베제다 니는 요하러 왔어. 대도 나오지 나로서 단단히 내가 시 요하이자 전에다 뭐하냐래 제지
So they actually have access to these 4 purities, these fully enlightened beings. But when we, with our practice, through visualization and so forth, we take these 4 purities or something similar to these 4 purities and we try to utilize them. This is one of the principles of the practice of Tantra.
다원은 아니 릴라버시에 바이는 가로서 소소거지야 소소도 소소겠네도 강가로 뚱바니 소노 뚱네 뚱빙원래 드디거더니 소소 야 라이노 바 사카리나 아니 드디거 노바죠 셰야요 알아봤어 대시 비깔더니 소소용 라티 모신도 요아래 소소가 리데용 라티 리자 아니 손지지 사이 아니 네 리용서 타바도 노바 탐바 스테시.
So to give an example of how this practice would unfold, so in Tantra, so first the practitioner imagines that his or her ordinary environment and his or her very physical form, that these dissolve into emptiness. Then from within that sphere of emptiness, one arises as the enlightened being. And as one arises as the enlightened being, as the deity, one gives rise to the deity's holy body. So this is the practice of, within the 4 purities, the purity of the body.
tani ta soso lal shene la tani soso tangi tu ya la ba noji ne do dere ji la yo tani tu me ngo le tani ne ja ye ko do ane la ko so ta kare be je tu yo na dere ge ne si wa si ta ya te la ne yo so ta ba no ba ta.
And then just as one arose as the deity from that sphere of emptiness, also from that sphere of emptiness, one imagines arising the environment of the deity with the crystal palace and the surrounding environments and all of the other things that the deity might need to use in the place where they dwell. And so in terms of the 4 purities, this is the pure abode.
아니 사고로서 두간에게 제빠도 몇바치 그래서 집에 대라 때냈더니 하여 하마나 소바 대다 그랬더니 제비지 뭐 그냥 소소를 지켜와 비야 되는 거냐서
And then when we speak of the, within the four purities, the pure enjoyments, this means having arisen as the deity and within that holy environment, then lights manifest from the seed syllable at the heart of the deity. They emanate offering gods and goddesses, and then these offering gods and goddesses that are emanated, they bring forth beautiful celestial offerings, which they offer to the self-generated deity. So this is then the purity of enjoyments. And when we speak about these enjoyments, we don't just mean like ordinary offerings. These enjoyments that are offered, ultimately, they are in the aspect of, we imagine that they are in essence a pure nectar which gives rise to the experience of uncontaminated bliss within the mind of the generated deity.
아니 야 소제도 있다니 유도도 걸어서이나 아니 소소 주간에 계속 빠다 몇바지 계제를 리근다니 쇼철을 치는 계제를 리근다니 걸어서 넘만다고 레레 파편이라 아니 세제게 돼야 뭐
So then, in terms of the last of these, the purity of activities, in terms of the pure activities, one example would be that the Buddha figure or the yidam, from their heart, countless light rays emanate, and on each of those countless light rays is an aspect, an emanation of the yidam, of the Buddha figure, and through those light rays, with the Buddha figures being sent out, they then accomplish the welfare, the benefit of sentient beings. This would be an example of the purity of activities. So then this is a brief presentation of those four purities of abode, body, enjoyments, and activities. These are things that the enlightened beings actually possess and engage in. In the practice of Tantra, we imagine bringing these forward and in engaging in similar things to these four purities. And whether this practice of Tantra comes forth stable or not, whether this practice of Tantra comes out well or not, one of the main things is the practitioner must correctly be able to comprehend the conqueror's intent regarding emptiness, profound emptiness. So when we speak about emptiness, of course, it is a vast subject. So there are many sort of more evident, coarser, and subtle aspects to it. So first one comes to know and understand the various aspects of emptiness. And then once one is able to contemplate it and bring forth a feeling of emptiness, then whatever practice one will engage in, that feeling will be able, a cause for it to come out well. So Geshe said then today for the meditation, for the contemplation, we won't be able to engage in all of the methods fully for various reasons, but he will give at least a brief presentation to give some idea of how one would meditate in this tantric mode. So then imagine that the body and mind, specifically the subtle body and the subtle mind, that they become relaxed and peaceful. So then whether we speak about ourselves, whether we speak about others, whether we speak about the house where we dwell, the mountains, the environment, and so forth, all of these things seem like they have some sort of pinpointable inherent essence that we can point out. But if we try to find this pinpointable essence, we will not be able to find it. So accordingly, meditate on emptiness. So then let us imagine, let us visualize that from within that state of emptiness, and we can imagine he appears on our crown or he appears in the space in front of us. We imagine that Buddha Shakyamuni manifests. So then we imagine that we make requests for both ourselves, for others, to this visualized Buddha Shakyamuni to be able to free all sentient beings from samsara in general and specifically from the sufferings of the lower realm. And then we imagine that due to this request from the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni, countless lights and nectars emanate. We imagine that every single last place within samsara, there is not one single place that is not touched by those brilliant lights and nectars that have come from the Buddha's heart. And we imagine that from these beautiful light rays that have filled every last corner of samsara, that whatever beings in that particular abode need, whatever they need to eat, whatever they need to drink, through those light rays, those miraculous light rays, whatever they need manifests. So then we also imagine that through these miraculous light rays and so forth emanating, that all of those sentient beings who suffer from hunger and thirst, that through whatever they need to drink or eat manifesting, all of the suffering related to that experience of hunger and thirst is completely cleared away. And we also imagine that through those light rays touching all of those sentient beings, that whatever mental illnesses they are experiencing, whatever physical illnesses they are experiencing, that these are completely cleared away, just like snow disappears away when a heavy rain falls. And then similarly, we imagine that all of these beautiful enjoyments we manifested, whether things to eat or drink, that we also offer these to all of the holy beings, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And also imagine that through this practice we have been able to engage in a beautiful practice of generosity to all mother sentient beings. And then meditate on joy, thinking in this short period of practice I've been able to accomplish not only offering the generosity of all of these needed things to sentient beings, but also of making these pure offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. How wonderful that I engaged in these two activities. So we'll pause there. So Geshe said that ends the brief presentation, and he presented this meditation from a point of view that everybody can do and participate in. So he hopes that on the basis of being introduced at least to this taste of this, that one's practice can become more and more vast. So Geshe said in terms of the actual practice of Tantra, then one needs to generate oneself as the deity to engage fully. In order to do that, one needs to receive initiation or empowerment. And so for that purpose, he didn't present the complete practice, but he presented it in a way that's accessible to everyone. So Geshe said, that no rush with this practice. So sometimes when you have time, you can engage in this sort of a simple practice, and this will be something that can contribute to your own happiness and to the happiness of others. Thanks very much. We shall end it here.